Okay, we are live. Shalom, shalom. It's been a while, and Pastor Joe and I have decided we're gonna do an update. So,
Hoo-hoo!
here we are after many months of silence.
Months!
Well, I don't know, weeks, something.
Oh.
Should I take my glasses off?
Yeah.
I think stuff's
I'll get on here and you keep talking. I'll get us logged on and I'll read the comments.
Okay, that is Angelou Lewis. Shalom. Hey, how are you? We actually put up a little notice, at least on my YouTube
I put it on
channel.
Patreon.
He put it on his Patreon that we were actually doing a live stream coming up. And I actually sent an email to Weed Tree Bonsai because she's one of my moderators. And I never let her know we're going live. And so she ends up showing up whenever she finds out. But
And you still need to make me one of these days because I'm always here.
right, but you should do a live stream or something. I don't know how it's going to work when we're on and they're on. Shalom, McMikey. Shalom, Chasing Life. Good evening. Good to see you, Lady of Lakefort. I just commented on the chicken sandwich video. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. I love seeing people's
Eric
comments.
Mellon said hi there.
Eric, shalom.
All right. I will be your secretary. I'll keep you going here. You can just look at all the peeps.
But you can talk too. So
Okay.
One of Pastor Joe's ideas, which I thought was a good one, was to sort of talk about what we've been doing here on the property. And
Evelyn Vincent.
Hey Evelyn, shalom, shalom.
Mr. La Hunter 29.
Mr. La Hunter, welcome.
Oh, L.A. Hunter, as in Louisiana.
Oh, well, you're probably a real hunter, Mr. Louisiana. You're probably hunting gators and
Sportsman's Paradise, I
right?
think is what they call Louisiana.
Right? I mean, the Popeye sandwiches we ate.
Louisiana cooking.
Louisiana
supposedly.
cooking, right?
Yeah, I look like Santa. Should have a red
this
hat.
little girl today.
She did.
We were sitting down
somewhere,
and she was the cutest little 2-year-old, had that little whale ponytail thing sticking up, whale spout, giving him the eye.
Brother Alex is here.
Hey,
Craig,
Brother
Michael
Alex,
Ryan,
shalom. I have a
Chris
gift for you,
Chris
Brother
News,
Alex. Hopefully we'll see you on Shabbat.
Caps Fan 37.
Caps Fan, shalom,
Shalom,
shalom.
y'all.
Thank you for coming to my Instagram,
All right, I'm going
Caps
to quit
Fan.
playing with my glasses. I can't read without them. They're staying on my nose.
So we have one exciting thing coming up on the homestead, which is our Shemitah year will be
Storm
over.
Chaser.
Hey, Brother Mike, Lone Star Living. Howdy, howdy. Welcome from Texas.
Well, you guys are talking fast.
Yeah, Lafayette area. Lafayette area is down by the coast, right? So you're.
Oh, Lafayette. I know Lafayette. I went to Boziette there.
There you go. See? Small world.
Grandma Ginger's farm. Hello.
Anyway, this little girl was giving him the eye today, and I know she was thinking, I wonder if that's Santa, and maybe Mrs. Santa.
Eves, you
there.
can just put us on and listen while you drive. It's not like we're doing magic here that you have to watch.
Right, exactly. Just act like we're radio. We're a live radio show. Our Shemitah year is over in 2 days.
Yes! And boy, do we want to do some planting.
We have starting to get the fever already, and it's not even the end of the December, and we are just talking about all the different things we want to do, need to do in our garden. Chasing Life. Good evening.
I know what I'm going to do. You keep going.
I'm driving home from the hospital with my little one. Well, are you two okay, Chasing Life? I hope the hospital visit wasn't something serious. Excuse me.
Put my preaching glasses on.
We've talked about so many things that we need to do in the garden this past year, and we're like, oh, can't do that. Oh, can't do that. I've got a whole box of bulbs I want to plant flower-wise. I want to make cuttings off our elderberry plants. We want to get more fruit trees. I mean, we're just super excited. We need more mulch. We need to take the compost out of the chicken coop and put it out on the garden.
Yeah, we're going to take the compost out of the chicken run and coop. Because what were you laying down inside the coop?
Oh, I laid all kinds of things in the coop. I put that straw that you've seen me cut on our property in there. I put layers of weeds that we ripped out in there.
We have the chips, the wood chips.
The wood chips that we bought at the store.
So we're going to take all that stuff, and it's all infused with chicken poop, and we're going to scoop it up, put it in a wheelbarrow, take it, throw it on the garden, and then we're going to go get some mulch and put mulch on top of that.
And I've been using big plastic big 10 by 25 foot black plastic laid over parts of the garden to hopefully kill some of the grass and weeds that's there.
Okie said that beards like this are the wrong kind of camo if you're trying to hide from kids this time of year.
Right.
That's funny.
He could use his walnut dye stuff to cover it up. Anyway, good evening. Good evening, Sam. Shalom, shalom. Hey, Okie, how was that Wellington you did? Didn't you do a beef Wellington recently? Because my daughter-in-law made me a venison Wellington when I went out to visit, and it was pretty doggone good.
Was it good? Boy, that fire's working.
Yeah, it's working great. We came home, and the house was whatever temperature it was outside, 40-something. We think you had a rough weekend. We were there a couple of days, but prayers were answered and we're going home. Well, I'm sorry to hear that you were there, and I'm glad to hear that you were going home. Hallelujah for that.
Hallelujah.
Hitting the road between Dallas and Houston. Yeeves. Bless you all. Mrs. Claus said, ho, ho, ho. I'm not Mrs. Claus, but I'm sure that little girl thought I was. Yeah. Hey, Brother Tim. I sent you a little teeny email today about the email that I sent you earlier. And I hope you read it, and I hope it yields some fruit for you.
I can do a preview. So for all the Vikings that are on here, you said Tim's here? Yes, he is.
Yes, there he is.
What's his name? PNW Prepper? See, that's what's throwing me, Tim. PNW Prepper.
Okay.
Is going to be our regional coordinator for the Redoubt.
Ooh.
I'm going to make that announcement. I need to do that like tomorrow. So it's a peek at it today.
Crazy Canuck. Shalom.
PNW Viking. There you go. PNW Viking will be the regional coordinator for Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, and I think Wyoming.
Ooh. Wyoming is really cool. I was watching
I don't know that we have any Vikings there yet, though. But
come on, Vikings in Wyoming. You're going to have a regional coordinator. Get active. Get on the board. So yeah, our Shemitah year will be over. We're very excited about the gardening stuff.
Sister Renee,
Forrest's bride. Shalom.
Brother Mike, how you doing?
Maria McD there. Champ du Soleil. Well, sister, bless you. Welcome on the live stream. And your little, those little crackers she gave, you had like 6 bags of those little oyster crackers, which is not an oyster in it, because that would be unclean for us, but they're oyster shaped, are still feeding the saints. My daughter made her own chili, and she was having those crackers on it like yesterday. So bless you, Sister Maria. You're being really, really helpful to everyone.
Do you want to talk about the trip you made the other day?
Yeah, I will in a minute. And Mike Holland.
Yeah.
Hey, we got your cards, Mike. Bless you. Thank you. Glad your ministry is going well in India. It was good to hear from you. So last Thursday. Now this was a setup. This was a setup from a while back. My son and my daughter-in-law corralled me and said, "Hey, we want to do this thing. We want to go to a murder mystery dinner theater, and we want you to babysit." And I said, okay, that sounds,
And how many children do they have?
They have 4. And they're all under the age of 6 years old. One of them's an infant.
So, of course, with that many children, both parents have to work, right?
No. Our son is a school teacher, and he doesn't, they have to budget, but they're good at that. They're very good at budgeting. So, I said, where is this thing going to happen?
Truth Faction.
And it was 2 hours from where they lived. It was 6 hours from where we lived in a salt mine. 650 feet below the surface of the earth is where they were having this dinner theater. And I said,
if the nukes had gone off, they'd have
been perfectly safe. And I also said, look, so you're going to drag me 6 hours away from my home for me to babysit, and you're going to go down in this really cool salt mine deal, and I'm not going to get to do anything? And they're like, oh, no. So if you all were on my...
I think they can hear you.
Oh, sorry. If you all were on my channel, I posted a picture of a 6,000-pound block of salt. That was from that salt mine. So I got to go down in there with my grandson on Friday.
I'll do this, I'll tell you.
And then they went down...
Hi, Rodney.
Hey, Rodney, shalom. They went down that Shabbat evening after the sun went down, and that's when their murder mystery was.
So I have two questions.
Yes, sir.
Well, maybe just one.
Yes.
Were the walls made out of salt?
The walls were made out of salt, but they encouraged
So I
you-
have a second question.
Yes.
Did you lick the wall?
No, I did no wall licking.
Did Joe lick the wall?
Our son did not lick the wall.
Wow.
He wanted to, but someone who was there that they were at the dinner theater was his wife said they said not to, but he leaned over, I guess, and licked the wall.
TBIC following Yeshua.
Shalom,
Shalom, y'all.
bless you, family. So yeah, I was 650 feet down with my little 5-year-old grandson, and we basically had that whole place to ourselves.
There's a movie in that. You know, the nukes go off while you're down there with your grandson.
It would totally, I guess I could write a screenplay for that. It would work. It was a little bit much for him, but he did enjoy things, and I'm not going to go over the whole trip with you, but some of the really interesting facts about that mine were everything down there had to be chopped up, put on this hoist, which is their equivalent of an elevator, really not that big, taken 650 feet down, reassembled and welded back down there. And then that's how anything down there was there. So that was kind of interesting. There was a 32 Chevy pickup truck down there by Jiminy.
It wasn't all rusted out?
It had rust on the body, and it had no hood. It had no,
Someone needed one, and
side
they knew where they could
walls.
find one.
Well, no, they wanted it to power something, but they had to also...
Like that mill we went to.
Yeah.
They ran like a PTO off of it or something?
Well, I think it may have pulled the rail cars or something, but they had to convert it. Nothing down there can be a combustion engine.
Torah Trower. Shalom, Forrest Stump. That's a good name.
Yes, it is. Shalom.
Adventurous
Aardvark.
Aardvark.
Shalom. Anyway, the guy who gave us the tour was really proud of that. He called it a 32 Chevy, because that's how they say Chevy out there. And it had to be converted to electricity, and it had a 300-foot-long cable to wherever the electricity was coming from. And the guys at the end of the day would play this game. They would see how fast they could get it going, and then it would pull its own plug because it would go farther than 300 feet. And they tested how far it would keep going.
Oh, jeez.
And then I think he said something
Shalom,
about
Deborah.
the guy who lost had to pull the whole
High
cord
Value
back
Warrior,
up or
Evening.
something. So that was really cool. And then something else that was, well, there's a lot of things cool there, but the second thing I'll tell you is during the Depression, working in that mine was a good deal because you could make $3 a day. And in the Depression era, that was a lot of money.
So let's talk about salt a little bit.
Well, let me finish the story and then we can talk
All
about
right.
salt.
I thought you weren't going to tell the whole story.
I'm not going to tell all the stories from down there. They had carts down there, big wooden carts like you've seen in coal mine movies and stuff. And the gentleman who worked down there would be given a pick and a shovel and like a sledgehammer, and you filled that cart and it went back up 650 feet, and then you got a little brass disc that said you filled a cart. 4 tons of salt in that cart, worth 50 cents. They worked to fill that cart for 50 cents, and it was still a good job because sometimes you made $3 in a day. Amazing. Anyway, yeah, go ahead, talk about salt. It's very important.
Salt is hugely important. We don't think about it today, and I want y'all to think about salt. All of our processed foods that you buy anywhere is just chock full of salt. Too much salt.
Right, it's a flavor enhancer, and so much of it, even like your basic vegetables, your green beans will have 600 milligrams of salt in 1 can.
And so you don't need to worry about salt today if you're eating food that you get at a store or a restaurant. But as soon as you start depending on yourself to grow, forage, raise your food, you're going to need salt. And you don't need a lot of it, but it's really important that you have some. And unless you live on the coast, it's going to be very difficult for you to find salt. And so I would encourage y'all to lay back, 100 pounds of salt.
It's very cheap right now. It's very cheap to get your salt.
But it used to be super expensive.
Right, and it's also one of those economies that's going to have to be revived once, if something happens. People who live on the coast, that's one of the ways they're going to be able to make money is to trade with people coming closer to them by giving them salt. Just evaporate the salt water and you have salt. And salt mines like the one I went down will have, a commodity for themselves also to trade. Shalom. because salt is also used in food preservation, which is kind of important when you have
pickling and everything
no
else,
refrigeration. Right? Exactly. Tony and Melissa, shalom, shalom,
hey guys.
shalom. Bless you guys. Has anyone bought and stored livestock salt for all its various uses?
We have a couple salt blocks to put out and hunt over if we have to. They're just put back in reserve, and I bought a bunch of just rock salt, plain old rock salt. That was $2.50. It was on clearance when winter was over in Kansas. It's like $2.50 for 25 pounds, and I bought 100 pounds of that. But no, 50-pound bags from a restaurant supply house. That's cool. That's good.
That's a smart
Salt
idea.
will never go bad. You know, just put it in a 5-gallon can and
right.
Be happy
It's not going
to
mold or whatever. It'll be fine. So that's what I was doing. I did that on last Friday.
I was batching it here.
He was batching it
eating
here.
Eating oyster crackers. That's the whole thing that started that.
Right, eating the oyster crackers.
That's it, bread and water.
It was terrible for him. I watched all 4 of the grandchildren. I even took them to a store, which my daughter-in-law said even my son won't do. But experienced, not my first rodeo, no problem. And then I got home Sunday, dinner time, and Monday morning we went on another adventure, which we just got home from.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that one, though.
No, but the point being, we've been on the
road and
on the go, right?
Neglecting the homestead a little bit.
Neglecting the homestead.
But not really. Not totally.
But when you get away from your homestead, it also, look at my hat. I just cannot get this thing correct. I want it to have a nice straight line. There we go. When you get away from your homestead, it's a good time for you to look back at it and get ideas for what's coming up, you know. Iodized or not, canning concerns. I would do both.
Yeah, that's what Tor Trawler said. That's correct. Do both. Salt is so cheap. And here's the thing. You talk about a barter item. Oh my goodness. You give everybody about 3 months without any salt, and then you break out one of those 1-pound things of Morton salt you bought for, what, 54 cents in the grocery store or something?
That's right.
Wow.
Also, salt, we noticed this before. I'm taking this off because he got that fire going so good. If there are things in your area that have the word salt in it, like Salt Creek, Salt Cliff, Salt Lake, any of those kind of things, chances are there was a natural source of salt somewhere in that area, and that's why it got named that. So you want to know those things in your area because that may be a place for you to get some salt.
So somebody just said, hang on to those, Matthew Goza, hang on to those salt packets. They add up. I used to do stuff like that and save stuff from restaurants, and then it just becomes, you know, where are you keeping it, organizing it, and you end up with just stuff everywhere. And then I found out, you know, those little salt packets that you get at the restaurant, you can break them in half and sprinkle salt or wherever you get them. You can buy them online and get like a bazillion of them sent to you in a package that you then stick in a 5-gallon bucket in the store, and those would make pretty good barter little items, I think. Packets of salt like that.
Right, you could divvy them
that's
up.
your dimes, and then your $100 bills are the thing of salt.
Right, the bigger thing. So that would work too. And if you collect them yourself, of course, you'd want to have like a 5-gallon bucket.
Somebody's message was held for review.
Uh-oh. Oh, Grandma.
Good idea, Matthew Goza. That's a fine message.
Yeah. Grandma's farm's a good lady.
Oh, maybe you did make me a moderator. Look at that.
Oh, you're a moderator.
You better watch out, y'all.
Better watch out. So, other homesteading things.
We've been working on the road.
Right. We had a video where we did some pasture clearing. I think you put that one up.
That was a community work day.
That was a community work day. We cut down some trees and we have brush and stuff down there. And it's enlarging our goat pen. But then, recently, right before I left, Pastor was going to have me and him go down to our 40-acre line and clear that because it's marked on the property. There are stones and things along the 40-acre section, and we've been talking about for a long time wanting to have a road along that just so we can see, you know, what's to the east and west of it.
Yeah, you don't need to give those specifics, but yeah.
Right? And so I was busy that day with my daughter, but Brother Cody came to help him clear some rounds that were big and heavy, and then Cody offered to help. So
And
they
so we cut down all the trees in that thing. We finished the last trees up just, yesterday, day before yesterday.
mm-hmm.
And now I get to take Jack down there and drag him out of there. We saved a bunch that we're going to put on the sawmill. And we're going to start making boards
Ooh,
on the
yay, I can't
sawmill.
wait for boards off the sawmill.
And I think the first boards that we get off of the sawmill, we're probably going to use to fence our big garden.
Yes.
We'll just put some posts in the ground, probably cedar posts, and then go.
That's my question. Somebody said, what's their question?
I don't know.
Okay. Something else I might be doing in some of my free time besides actually finishing the duck house, which I keep saying I'm doing, and then I see more things I want to do on it, is put some metal panels up around the wood stove in our avocado.
Oh, you guys who want to settle near Shofar Mountain, you just need to contact us and we need to start a relationship. It's not like we put that information out there. And y'all can tell who we are because I have, 2,000 videos and you have how many videos?
I have
a bazillion.
Close to 1,000.
So you've seen us enough to get a measure for us. But we don't know you. I mean, I'm sure you're great, but not everybody is. And so we don't just go, blah, there's a house for sale right up the road from us. Please buy it. We don't do that. So you're going to have to start a relationship, probably starting with email.
Okay, so we talked about the clearing of the 40-acre line down there. I talked about putting the metal things up in the avocado. I've got those panels that I scavenged that need to go up around the wood stove, and that's like 8 screws. It wouldn't take me very long to get that put up. What else we want to talk about? He's been using Jack to level out the road,
right?
Because
grading the road.
It gets torn up in the rainstorms and stuff like that.
And we're getting ready to do the 50-hour service on Jack, believe it or not. I think we're up to 30-some hours on it, and I'm starting to think about that because I think I'm going to do it myself. It's not rocket science. I've never worked on a tractor, but I have the books, and it's just a matter of doing it. And I think I need to learn how to use Jack and how everything comes together and works, so I'm probably going to do it myself.
Yeah.
Overall Living said, it's easy. I'll let you come out and be my guide. I'll give you some iced tea and a chair, and you can sit there and go, no, PJ, no! And, laugh.
That's right. Overall Living, and you're still on the hook for helping me with my Jeep. I know you've got all this free time. Absolutely, right?
Somebody just said, let's see what they say. Adventurous Aardvark, you have needed Jack for years. People told us once we get a tractor, we're going to wonder how we ever lived without it. We're almost there. Wondering how we ever lived without it.
Yeah, he's really...
Probably by the end of this summer, I'll know. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
We have done so much work with that tractor already that it's amazing.
Saved so many man hours.
Oh, and my back.
Champ said Keith could help with that too, which is nice to know. What else do we want to do? I improved the goat pen. You guys saw that, but the billy goat still jumps out, so there's more work to be done there.
Chad, are you talking to me? I don't know if you're carrying on a side conversation or talking to me.
We also want to get our grapevines.
Oh yeah, I was doing some clearing around here the other day, and it started out with pruners and a machete, and then I got the lawnmower out. I'm trying to just tame the land a little bit, and I found a really long, pretty thin, as big as my finger to my little finger, had some lines coming off of it, grapevine, and so we're going to make arbor stands or something to hold it up.
That brings the total amount of vines around the house probably between 12 and 15, within 30 to 60 feet of the house. And you know me, I like having those grapes, so I want to prune every single vine and get it to where it's supported and we can take care of it once it starts growing. And another thing I'm doing is I'm taking the water that's in our duck area, because they always wash and stuff in it, and I'm using it as fertilizer on the vines that are around there. I'm pouring it on them now to help them, when the weather turns warm.
Hey, Richard Wells, hello.
Hey, brother.
We're live and in person. Too bad you couldn't have ever met us in person, huh?
Yeah, if only we knew what you looked like, Richard. Cared about you as a nice human being. A milking barn. That would be fantastic.
We just have to decide where we want it because we're constantly moving the. We probably need to build a real goat shelter
Yeah.
and then maybe have that incorporate the milking barn next to it or something.
Yeah.
We need a real barn, is what we need.
We
We talked
actually
about that
do.
before.
Yeah, we
Put
do.
the chickens in one corner, the goats on one side, the food on the inside, be able to do
Right.
everything.
Gear, stuff like that. In the meantime, if I need one, I can throw a hoop house up over top
Shalom,
of it.
TJ.
Shalom, TJ. But excuse me, I'm not milking anyone right now. The goat who I was milking has gone into heat, and I'm no longer milking her right now. Excuse me. Bears in the house. Woo woo.
The fig trees are alive. They set figs late.
Late.
And they weren't even ripe yet when we got a couple hard freezes, and so they died, but they lived. I mean, the fig trees lived.
Right.
The little fruits died off.
And they all came out late too. The oldest one came out first near the middle to the end of the summer, and we had one that just looked like a twig, and I thought for sure it was dead. And then right before these frosts happened, it leafed up and everything, and we have straw around all three of them.
Chad, I don't review messages very often. Just send me an email. Put your Viking level in the top of it. VikingServices@hotmail.com, and then we'll get to it.
Yeah, but at least they're alive. And then, I know another one. Another thing Pastor and I want to do soon is get the end pieces on our greenhouse.
Oh yeah, we have the hoop house, if you will, that you can walk through, and beds that you've improved on both sides have a nice walkway. We actually own greenhouse plastic to go over it, and we need to build 2x4 ends with door.
Look at that. Mark says Jack plus sawmill equals barn. Nice.
Yeah, that's right.
Nice. Yeah, it's true. But yeah, we want to get the end pieces up on the greenhouse so we can start possibly doing, baby cold weather plants. And somehow I would like to incorporate it in, if I got chicks, in kind of keeping the chicks warm and raising them up. And a rocket stove would help with that.
Like a rocket mass heater? Yeah, that would be neat.
And it wouldn't have to be huge, just warm enough for them to huddle around at night. So, plans, stuff like that.
Maybe we'll do another apprentice week, and they can help us build the rocket mass heater, and then we'll build the barn around it.
I like that idea. Stay tuned, YouTube, for say that again, apprentice weekend or week to do a barn and a rocket mass heater.
Oh, it would, yeah. I was talking about the rocket mass heater.
Oh, rocket mass.
I don't know that I'm having apprentices help build anymore, to tell you the truth. Like build with wood that I have to pay for.
Well, if we shut it off our sawmill, they don't have to pay for it.
Well, you pay for it another way. Yeah, I don't know. Unskilled labor.
I also like the idea of a vehicle weekend to get our two
Our
toys
Jeep and our
up,
FJ. Yeah.
get them up, got the parts,
That's just a time thing.
hoist the engine.
New stove review. The new stove is not installed yet. We're going to try and put the chimney in tomorrow.
That's another project we're working on. Pastor has been measuring and moving and measuring and sizing up and so on, and climbing up and down the ladder.
It's a 700 and something pound stove, and so we got it. We're pretty sure it's where it needs to be vis-a-vis the chimney. And we have a little bit of play in where we can put the top box on the chimney. And we're at that point right now where we're playing with that. And then we're going to cut a hole in a perfectly good kitchen roof and put the pipe up.
Right. So, we finally got the heat-resistant panels under that stove, which took some doing because we had to be very careful not to break those panels either.
How do you stick a single
Wider
than the stove, so it's bigger than the stove in every dimension, underneath a 770 pound stove? How do you do that? Because at first I thought, well, I'll just rock it back and brace it up, but you can't brace it up on anything because the piece that you're sticking under it is wider than it is.
And you've got to get it under there.
We did it.
Jack saying
Jack won't fit in my kitchen.
Yeah, Jack would have helped a lot if we'd gotten it. Get Bear to lift it. Because he's got all the time in the world to just come lift our stove.
Oh,
for
all
us.
he does is sit around on his homestead and drink Mai Tais.
You know, and play video games.
And do videos.
That's right.
That's all he does
Yeah.
is drink Mai Tais and do videos.
Yeah, with several horses. A regular Jack with several horses.
Actually, I did it with my wife.
Yeah, we took care of that.
So what we did is, I got to set my
carefully,
teacup down.
Very carefully is a good answer.
This is the stove.
Right.
Here's the floor.
Right.
We put a 2x4 here and a 2x4 out here.
Right.
And then we canted the stove back and put a 4x4 under it on top of the 2x4s. Then we went around the other side, canted it back, put another 4x4, so now the thing is up about 6 inches, and then we just slid the 2 fireboards underneath it.
And let it go back down.
Same way.
Yeah, but we have to make sure that where the pipe is coming out of the stove matches up with where it'll fit between the rafters. Because we have, rafters in our roof, and they're what, 16 inches apart, 12 inches apart? What are our rafters set at? I don't remember.
2 feet.
2 feet. So they're 24 inches apart, and the box is how big?
15 inches by 15 inches.
So it's 15 by 15, and it has to fit in that 24 inch space between the two rafters, where you want it, exactly over the stove, where the pipe's going to come. And
Shalom, Ozark Geek.
Shalom, Ozark Geek. And then he will have to cut a hole for that pipe to go through the roof, the tar paper or whatever. Oh, I love my Pioneer Princess. Just cooked cabbage, potato, and carrot soup, and it's heating my house. To Lady Homesteaders Hodge, I so am glad that you have it. And I saw your video on yours, and I've been waiting for mine now, 3, 4, 10 years? We've had that stove.
We bought the stove in 2013.
Right? I've been waiting 6 years for this stove to get installed.
And we wanted to buy one years before. We just didn't have any place to put it.
Right. No practical way to run a pipe and stuff.
Acres,
yeah, at High Prairie Acres.
Would have blown us out of there.
Would have been a big mess. So I've been waiting a very long time to Homesteaders Ladies Hodge.
I bought a plumb bob just for this project, Brother Tim.
That's right. He sure did.
Hey, Canteen Cup.
Hey, Canteen Cup. I've got plans. Oh, do I have plans for when that thing is hooked up? Because I've been cooking on that camp stove now for 7 years.
Okay, Truth Faction. Thank you, by the way.
And so things like baked chicken, bread,
Wee
cake.
Tree.
Hey, Wee Tree. Yay, I sent you an email. Wee Tree. Welcome. Anything baked?
The Have More Farm. They have more. They have more than us.
They have more than everyone. It's the Have More Farm. To have the hot water, because the Pioneer Princess has a reservoir for water, so when it's hot, the water will be hot. So when I want to do something like wash dishes, I don't necessarily have to spend the time boiling that water, or to just wash my hands.
I haven't figured out how that part's going to work yet, to tell you the truth.
But it's going to work. I am going to have that water. So I'm super excited. I even had a bag of chocolate chips, and I kept shaking them at Pastor and being like, "You get that stove going, and I'll make cookies." But we broke down and got into that bag before then. Shame on us. But yeah, that's there. And Pastor wants to get that done tomorrow because there's no rain.
In the forecast.
In the forecast.
For like a couple days.
And he's been measuring. Like I said, he's got a box.
Measure 1,000 times. And
it's important. When you're going to cut a hole in your roof.
Yeah. And
expose your house to the elements, you want to make sure you get that stuff right. And the way the Father works is, he was talking about how he was going to, do the shingles. And then he went on YouTube and saw a video that said, measure, blah, 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 cut with your Sawzall, right?
Yeah, with your reciprocating saw.
And we don't have one. But we went up to see our daughter, and I'm in the garage up there.
I was going to borrow one from Ozark Geek. He told me he had one, and I could borrow it.
Right, and I'm up there helping her clean up or whatever, and he was there too, and I said, isn't that a Sawzall? Like right there, reciprocating. And the Millennial Man had one, so we're borrowing his. That was great. So now he can do it the way he wants, quick, easy, get it taken care of, get it all tarred and tamped and
feathered and
leveled.
Run out of town on a rail.
Before it rains, right? Get
that's right. We said we weren't going to do politics.
Did I say anything political?
Saw a video of how to plumb the hot water.
I keep water in pots on the stove for hot water.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you for that video link. I would appreciate it when it comes.
Yes.
I got the little like U-shaped pipe that goes with it. I just can't figure out what the heck I'm supposed to do with it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, Brother Mark. If you've got something, good luck to you. Thank you.
Yeah, we could have done it where we put our stove through the wall, but really you get a better draft if you go up through the roof. And you know, when you want to run with the big dogs, you got to get off the porch. There's other things you got to do, and usually when I'm afraid to do something, I think about it for a second, and I think, am I afraid to do this because this is a stupid thing to do, or am I afraid to do this because I don't really know how to do it? And that's the case with going up through the roof. It's perfectly fine to go up through the roof if one does it correctly. And so I'm going to do it. Right. And then I won't be afraid of doing it.
Plus, he's done it through the roof.
Yeah, I did it with this one, but I did it while I was building the roof, so it's a little bit different.
A little bit different, but it's going to be awesome.
Biddy Boo.
Yay, Biddy Boo. Shalom, shalom. Hello.
See you overall living.
Yep. So once that thing's up, then we have to start the process. You have to do like a slow burn the first time.
A couple times,
kind
I
of
think.
Just
let it break in and stuff.
And we need to figure out how the wood burning thing's going to work. And
yeah, we've never cooked on a wood stove like that. But, you know, you'll get to the point, I know, where you'll be able to stick your hand in there and go, yeah, it needs to be a little hotter or a little cooler. Or
right, throw in another log or something. And the box is how big?
Big. Bigger than what we cut the wood for this, so we're okay.
So we're okay there? Yeah. Good, good.
Throw another log. Throw another log on the fire.
Cook me up some bacon and some grits.
Beans.
Beans. My brother will play.
Hey, I had the red beans and rice at Popeyes today.
Yes, he did.
Looked up the ingredients. There's no meat in it at all. And I felt like Chef Ramsay. The rice was awful. It was probably old rice.
It's hard.
It's hard. I can't serve this.
How can you eat this?
But it wasn't good rice. But the beans were really good. Less chance for someone tampering with the exhaust if it goes through the roof. Lady of Lake Fork, you have no idea how we live. And if someone wants to tamper with anything, our dogs need to eat. Kill, eat. Friend named Woodstove Smog. Hey, we have several friends with Pioneer Princess, with Pioneer Maid, whatever ours is called, that stove. I sold 3 of them. And by that, I mean I had a friend who had one, and I liked it so much, I would drag my other friends who were thinking about getting a wood cook stove to this friend's house. They would look at it and go, oh yeah, we're getting that stove too. And so I have all these friends that have that stove. It's a great stove. Nobody has a problem with it.
No, and the one stove had the roof, remember? Up in Leavenworth, the roof that they were going through was like...
Oh, super high. It's like a warehouse.
Yeah, it was a warehouse. It was like 30 foot of pipe or something for them to go up, and they still used it to heat this enormous space that they were living in.
Yep.
Yeah. Although our problem is, I have a wood stove cookery book I can bring you. That would be awesome, and it'd probably be better, easier for you, because I just realized I've got a book I borrowed from my daughter-in-law like 2 years ago, somewhere around here. Xerox some of the recipes for me. And just give me the Xeroxes and keep the original for yourself, because if you lend it to me, Lord knows where it's going to wind up.
We're going to try and start a new thing on my Patreon channel tomorrow. Wednesday with Pastor Joe. I'm gonna try cooking on Wednesdays outside. So that'll be interesting. Lions of Savo.
Wait, Giltha next. We've seen that. We've seen that copper wire idea, and we haven't done anything with it yet. But I've seen it, and I know about it. Lions of Zavo, raise your ridgebacks.
Ridgebacks will hold lions at bay until I show up with my 416 Rigby.
Let me tell you,
to dispatch them.
They really like large moving things.
They do.
They really, really do. Like at least my dog will run around Jack and bark and whatever, and around the 4-wheeler. They love it.
They're fierce. Except when it's time for you to feed them,
and then they're just big chow
babies.
hounds.
Hey, Mark. They're quite scary in person. Oh yeah, you've met them.
That's right, Richard. I don't think of them that way, but I can get it. I mean, I can see that.
Yeah.
If
Well,
you...
they're like big pit bulls, kind of.
Mm.
Tell them about the dogs you saw running through the field today.
Ooh, I saw a 5-pack. I saw a 5-pack running out in the middle of nowhere. Pyrenees and 4 other hound dog retriever looking dogs. I mean, when there are 5 of them in a pack, those guys are up to no good.
That's why you need an AR. I didn't know you had a Ridgeback Canteen Cup.
Wow.
I think it's the perfect prepper dog. I'm a little bit miffed that they call them the Navy SEAL of dogs. I think they should call them the Green Beret of dogs.
Well, I don't know if they train other dogs. Maybe they do. Westhold Forge.
Oh, is he here?
Yeah, he recommended a Walker hound.
Are.
I would like to meet one at least. I love hounds. I love how they
Well, Ridgebacks are hounds.
Yeah, Ridgebacks are a hound. We used to have a really, really cool English coonhound. He was just too much fun.
John Knapp, do we have wolves down here? Maybe. Doubtful. But maybe.
Definitely coyotes.
Somebody swears to me he saw one, but I'm not sure. He knows what he was looking at, number one. And
Australian Shepherds are good
Panthers.
too. Anatolian Shepherds are good, but they're not friendly.
Westhold Forge, you know all the guys. And I know you. So.
That's right. You're our contact to the other guys. Yeah, Anatolian Shepherds are great. They just are not trustworthy.
What are you going to do when I die?
When and if the Lord takes my husband before me and I'm alone out here, I'm going to get me 2 Anatolians because they will pretty much eat anything that comes near human, canine, porcine, caprine,
Westfold Forge said there are wolves here. I believe him.
Ooh!
He knows.
Okay. I am partial to my 2 German Shepherds. German Shepherds are awesome dogs too. They really are.
I really like Anatolians, but in our experience, and we've owned 4 of them, they are awesome with who you raise them with, be that critters or your family, but they do not play nice with others, other animals and other people. And since the way Shofar Mountain operates, we have a lot of people come here, some that aren't known very well.
It's not good.
They weren't good. And we don't like chaining dogs up. And so, every time somebody's going to come, you have to lock up your dogs. And it's... so...
Yeah, and it's not easy to keep them chained up either. The one we had just would get loose from everything we did to keep him contained. Oh, all right. I have an Anatolian Pyrenees. Worst problem is that
they cover too much area. Yeah, they do.
That's right.
And we have a lot of property here, but there are also thin parts of the property, if you will, where the 2 borders are kind of close to each other. And I'm sure one could train one's Anatolian, the borders, but it's just way beyond what we want to do. And so, yeah, they would roam. And, well, our neighbor, half a mile away?
Yes.
He has 2 Pyrenees.
Yes.
And they roam all over the place.
Well, our Anatolian went up there and beat up his Pyrenees. I mean, yeah, whatever. Chad, not gonna happen. Yeah. We don't eat coyote.
But our dogs do. Not
on the list of approved meats.
Lost an Anatolia to predators? Was it a puppy? I almost I was going to order from Turkey, but they were too expensive because they come from Turkey. Anatolia's in Turkey. And they make these collars that have as a matter of fact, Westhold Forge could probably make one, Anatolian dog collar, that has spikes on it about this long. They're awesome. They just stick out. I was thinking about buying them one.
My 5-pound cane terrier is kind of useless. Cute. Have 2 European German Shepherds. They are great. I take mine to Tractor Supply so she won't get too antisocial. I take my Ridgeback to Lowe's occasionally. It's so funny to watch him because he hates the concrete floors.
Yeah, because our dogs are raised on
wood and
Avantech flooring and the outdoors. And so they don't have anything
grass
slick
and gravel
under their feet.
Yeah. I thought, wait, what did Jason say? My Cheweenies. I forgot she had her Cheweenie up there with her. Sister Melissa. Neighbor heard a, what did she say?
A wolf, and it's hard for me to. And you were out there looking a bunch of neighbors. Am I crazy, or was that not you? I don't think that was me. I don't remember us looking for a wolf.
No, it was a bear. They thought it was a bear that attacked the neighbor's dog, or a mountain lion.
A mountain lion.
He got this huge.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. You're thinking of the
tear
mountain
under his
lion.
armpit.
There is a mountain lion around here. I'm pretty sure I saw the teenager mountain lion. Somebody else thinks there's a mama with two like young ones. She doesn't believe it. I'm really hoping that she sees one like fairly up close and personal.
Yeah, I'm not convinced. Not really convinced. I've always been.
Fan of hounds and pit bulls. Yep.
I'm not so. I know pit bulls have their pluses.
NWA Preppers here. There he is.
Hey, NWA Prepper, bless you. I know pit bulls. You know, people swear by them. They're kind and cuddly and friendly and all that stuff. But man, how many reports of a pit bull killing somebody do you have to hear before you're like, yeah, maybe not so much.
Plus, they have kind of like the thug life,
right.
vibe.
Got the thug life vibe going on with those dogs, and yeah.
Hail, hail, the gang's all here.
I have a Dane Mastiff mix that scares people. It's just a lover boy, right? I can see that because the Danes and the Mastiffs were more like anti-dog, anti-wolf dogs than anti-people dogs.
I think they were bred to fight for the gladiators, weren't they? Mastiffs, they were war dogs. I think Mastiffs and Danes were war dogs.
No, I'm pretty sure Danes were anti-wolf dogs. Pretty sure.
Irish Wolfhounds.
Irish Wolfhounds also, but I think Danes also were anti-wolf dogs. Can't say so much about the Mastiff. I got attacked by a husky, so I don't trust them anymore. Yeah, and I've heard huskies, you have to be the dominant dog with huskies.
Hey, Dave.
You know, you've got to establish yourself as an alpha, or they will bite you and their owners and other dogs and all. I mean, the real huskies, the ones that pull the sleds. And
I saw a video of a guy who did not understand dogs, and he owned an Anatolian, and he said the Anatolian was generally really good, except sometimes it would growl at him when he was giving it food or something, which is automatically, you never let your dog growl at you. You have to be the alpha male or alpha female or whatever.
Yes, and you got to train.
But anyway, he had a litter of piglets, and he always carried a Glock, and he goes out to check on the piglets, and the dog was protective of the piglets and started growling at him. So he decided to get down on his hands and knees to make the dog not feel afraid of him, at which point this 120-pound Anatolian starts eating him. And
tore him up.
His face was almost ripped off. And that's when he remembered, oh, I took my gun off when I went in the bathroom and I forgot to put it on. And so his brother-in-law's inside the house. Everybody hears the commotion. He comes running out, can't get the dog off of him, runs back into the house, gets the gun, comes out, shoots the dog. There's a reason you should carry a gun all the time, and there's a reason you should train your dogs from the time they're puppies.
That's exactly right. Yeah, you've got to train your big dogs. Oh, that dog needs a whipping. Long before then. Exactly.
Long before then. Yeah, it's too late then.
Too late. Native Americans used to...
They did put travois on dogs.
Yes, they did.
Little doggy travois.
Yes, and they pulled things.
A travois wouldn't work around here, though. Unless you're going on the road and you don't want to be on the road.
Yeah, no.
I wouldn't get on my knees.
No, you know what's
going to... You want to look big and mean to a dog.
That's right. The bigger you are, you know...
Drop your voice and point with a knife hand. What are you doing? Bad dog.
I did that with a
Rottweiler, right?
Doberman Pinscher. I had a new puppy and I was walking around my neighborhood long time ago, and this Doberman Pinscher comes running out of its house, barking at my puppy, and I just spread myself out as big as I could. I put my legs and my arms out, and I said, "Bad dog! What do you think you're doing?" And so many dogs have heard that bad dog thing, and it was not in its own yard. It was out in public. So it couldn't, claim its yard, and it saw me, and it was like, oh, snap, and it went back.
So you know what you do with a police dog that's attacking you?
Stick your arm in its mouth and then stab it.
You speak in badly badly accented German
Oh.
with like a southern accent and say nine. That was probably too German. How do you say nine in a southern accent? Nine.
Halt.
Platz. Nine.
Halt.
Aus.
Gehen aus.
Sorry.
Yeah. Sled dogs for many years and never had less than 14. Got from, I'll send the message to Hotmail. Yes, you sent it to Hotmail. Zetzensee. Yeah, Zitzensee.
Speaking of German,
Jawohl.
I just started watching a new series my daughter turned me on to on Netflix called Dark. Very interesting. You can watch it in German with English subtitles if you want, or bad English voiceovers if you don't.
I used to only love Chow. So I got my first German Shepherd last year. I may like looks of Chows, but now the German
Southern
Shepherd
Spirit. You know who that is,
trains.
right?
Is it snowing up there?
You know who
It
that
says
is?
most men not on
did
there.
it? No, it's not snowing. It's I don't think it's going down below 39 or something tonight,
30,
right?
30 something.
Yeah, no, it's not snowing. It's going up to 50s tomorrow too.
How are you, brother? It's been a long time since we have seen you.
It has been. We were just talking about Lafayette, Louisiana. That's down in your stomping grounds.
That's right. Sure is. And
Lafayette. Do you know how many states
Yes.
have towns named Lafayette
A
or
bunch.
Fayetteville or
Yes.
something like that?
For the Marquis de Lafayette during the Revolutionary War.
Not bad for a Frenchie.
Okay.
Snow this weekend. I saw something on a weather report that said it might snow Monday, but I have really not been online for the last couple of days.
36
Okie.
degrees and maybe Sunday, but it'll be 40 Monday and it'll just end up getting melting. I had a black
Trains
chow
isn't
chow.
Tagalog. Oh.
She was, I'll train mine in Tagalog. Nice.
Salamat po, puppy.
I had a black chow chow. She was awesome. Chow chows are awesome. They're just temperamental too, right? They're very protective. You got to make sure they don't chomp on your neighbor.
There's no bad dogs. There's only bad owners.
Great fun. I'm out. Shalom. All right. Bye, Crazy,
See you, Crazy
Canuck.
Canuck.
Bless you. What other homesteady things? I think we've talked
We're
about.
going to do we talked about everything we've got kind of planned for the next week or two.
Right.
What do y'all want to know? You have us here live for a couple more minutes. What do you want to know? Just because you asked doesn't mean we'll answer it, but you could know something.
70 degrees.
It's staying 22 tonight on my feed. I hope you're right. Oh, Tony and Melissa said 22.
Woo!
Are you back?
Yes, she's back. I
She's
told you
back?
that
22
earlier.
here?
20. Ooh. Awesome. Used to have a chow chow and coyote mix. My first real dog bonding. They're just going so
Thoughts
fast.
on vaccinations. Here's my thoughts. I have had every vaccination except anthrax known to man.
True.
I was pickled, and we used to laugh that I would never die because of all the vaccines I had. You've had most of them.
I've had a decent amount.
Our kids, who are now adults, had all the vaccines you need to go to Southeast Asia, which is a boatload of them, and we're all perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. We're all fine. I don't think my grandchildren are vaccinated. That's their parents' choice, and I'm fine with that. I don't have to worry about vaccines anymore because I don't take the flu vaccine. I took it a couple times. Every time I took it, I got sick as a dog, so I don't take it anymore. I don't really see myself doing international travel anymore, so I will not be getting any more vaccines. So I don't have a dog in the fight. Too many people are way too emotional about it. Do what you want to do. Vaccinate or don't vaccinate your children as you want to vaccinate or don't vaccinate them. That's where I'm at on vaccines. Are you anywhere different?
No, I'm pretty much the same. I think there are some childhood diseases that are high risk for small children. And so, it's up to you. But if you decide not to vaccinate, then you need to be prepared to take care of your child should they catch one of those childhood diseases.
Oh, I know Canteen Cup. You and I have all the same shots.
And chicken pox and scarlet fever and things, because the reason vaccines were even invented was because things like scarlet fever, if it runs its course and it's in you for like 2 or 3 weeks, that's streptococcus and it can damage your heart. Things like that. So, everybody's got to be as educated as they can be and then be ready to deal with the fallout whatever your decision is. Don't
Big boy rules.
Right? Don't blame the system or blame your school system or whatever. Be ready for what happens, whatever your decision is. And we were. I mean, in our day, it wasn't that big a deal, and so our kids were vaccinated, and they were vaccinated to go overseas too. And they had things like hepatitis
A, B, and C.
A, B,
There was
and
one
C
you
or
couldn't get a
something.
vaccine
Maybe-
for. I think A and B, and you don't have one for C or something.
Yeah, you didn't get the C, but you could have A and B, and it was required. So, I mean, in my mind, I don't have to worry
Yellow
about them
fever,
getting them.
typhoid,
Yes.
not malaria. They don't have a vaccine for that.
Yeah, there was no vaccine.
Plague.
You had plague. I didn't have plague. He had a plague vaccine. Come on.
Yeah, 3. I think it's a series of 3. It's horrible. Made me feel terrible.
If the Black Plague comes through, Pastor Joe will be the guy
Lone
standing there.
survivor.
That's right.
So what are we planting new next year?
New.
Pumpkins. I'm gonna do pumpkins. We're gonna do peppers again.
He wants to do chickpeas.
I want to do chickpeas.
I had some kind of little squash thing that I got seeds for, and I never ended up planting that. I'd like to try to do more summer squash. Maybe some more heirlooms because we still have some hybrids. And, yeah, squash, because we want things like Hubbard squash. We still haven't grown them successfully. Excuse me, some of the more winter squash, big meaty things like the pumpkins, just so we have them over the winter time. And I have 3 of those butternut squash. We originally had 4 because we've used one that grew around our goat pen this year that we didn't plant.
Right.
And so we still have them around. And somebody told me they make awesome soup, so I'm going to have to try that next.
Somebody asked you where to find the black haws because they don't have any black haw trees on their property. So here's my advice on that. With all wild edibles that you forage, sure, you can try and get a guidebook and walk around and look and find this stuff. But I think the best way is to find somebody who knows these things in your area. I'm going to sneeze. And have them show you.
Right. Contact that person so that way they'll be able to show you and let you taste it and see it. If you don't know about them in your area, order some. Order some seeds online and plant some. We just happen to have them here, and we didn't even know anything about them, and we saw them and we're like, oh,
Well,
look.
I did. Doc taught me about them.
I did not know that thing.
Yeah, Doc, and you can notice the bark. That's why I say it looks like cork. Doc's the one that told me that.
Yeah.
Local newspaper ads, Gordy. 119 Ministries has a fellowship finder. You can list there. eliyah.com or .org has a fellowship finder. You can put it in there. Also, Craigslist.
Right, you can advertise that you are a Torah person and see who wants to contact you. You can become the person to contact in your area as well.
Or you could just move closer to us.
Could just move closer. We're very user friendly. Do you have a toilet or an outhouse? What? Hey, Sister
We're
Kate.
not going to talk about that.
You should learn to spin. I am loving it. Taking the wool from my sheep, processing, spinning, and then making something to keep us warm. I would love to do that too, ladies homesteaders. I had somewhere, and I hope I still can find them, the carding paddles, and I have sheared
Barbara,
sheep
yes
wool.
is the answer.
I've rinsed sheep wool, but I have not spun it. I have not made it into thread. I have used a loom, sort of, but it was more like a hand loom. It wasn't a really huge loom. And a book I'm reading right now called, oh, hang on, let me see if I can find it. You talk.
So we went, my wife and I went, man, long ago when the kids were homeschooled. I think we were in the D.C. area, and the Smithsonian had a week-long Viking Fest thing where people came from Norway, Denmark, I don't know, Scandinavia, set up a Viking encampment and had all this stuff going on. It's fascinating, like living history stuff. And they have a way of spinning fibers with some kind of top thing, like a spinning top, and they would drop it while it was spinning and do that. We should probably look into that.
Drop spindle. That's what they're called, a drop spindle. Yeah, I can't find the book I've been reading lately. It's about these sisters called the Walker Sisters.
Drop spindle.
That's what I just said.
Oh.
Drop spindle. Said that thing.
Well, so did Michael. Michael
Michael,
knows.
you know.
So does Champ du Soleil.
That's right, drop spindle. Walker's
So does Grandma.
Sisters, something Women of the Rockies.
Well, you need to teach us how to do that.
And that book, the sisters in it did everything. Everything. They did the sheep, they spun it, they made the thread, they did the loom, they made their own patterns and made their own dresses. And I just think that's a really valuable skill. Plus, like you said, make warm. We are going to do Puma cotton and flax too. I did a thing on my channel where there was an Irish guy talking about the whole thing for doing the flax, from planting the seeds to harvesting it and then, you know, processing it to make it soft so you could weave it.
Grandma said Walker Sisters is an excellent book.
Yeah, there's some really cool stuff in there. What is your problem? What is your major malfunction there, dog? Huh? What? You want to go out?
They're like children, these
terrible.
dogs.
He wants to go eat chicken food is what he wants to do.
And there's not much of it. We fed them late this afternoon, and there's probably less than a palm full of grain scattered over about a 10 by 10 area, and he wants to go lick it up. Crack on with NOAC, waiting until your children were 2 for vaccines. From what I've read, and I don't read a whole lot because, again, I don't have a dog in that fight, but that sounds smart to me.
Sure.
Oh, thread from nettles. Yeah, I've done that. I've taught, I teach wilderness survival, and one of the things we teach is making cordage from natural materials, and we use nettles. We made nettle tea, too.
Oh, and we... Oh!
We're live again.
We're back.
So we've used nettles before. We made nettle tea, and you made a nettle hair tonic, and look,
it works
man,
great.
Took
look
it all off.
Shalom, y'all. You've made
Sasquatch.
Hey, Sasquatch. Shalom. We've tried making cordage from many different kind of weeds and things because a lot of the grasses have such tough fibers. You can make rope out of them.
Yeah, Tarzan did.
Tarzan did that thing.
No, I've made rope out of all kinds of things. Bananas.
Right.
Banana trees.
Plastic bags.
Plastic bags. That's how I teach people. I start out with plastic
Yeah.
bags. Hey, Harley.
So, yeah. It's a good thing to practice. I'll say that much. And I do know how to knit and to crochet. So if we have fiber, I can do something with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, blankets at the very least. Scarves, hats, things like that. Thoughts on buying bulk rodent control?
We have a lot of traps that we bought. I never really thought of buying like bulk rodent control. I would think then, despite the fact that we're allergic, I would think we'd get a couple cats.
Yeah, I'm thinking just for the long term, the problem with rodent control is it's a poison. And if you have anybody's little kids coming around, anybody's dogs, if they ingest that, it's going to be bad. So you run a risk of it contaminating things that it touches. You're not even supposed to touch it with your bare hands. The
and things
better
you can
rodent
do for
control is
environmental. Just make it so they don't like it where your stuff is, and keep it where it's not packed into a corner where you can see your supplies and things like that.
Right. Deny them access. Use something like a cat and a trap, because traps are very effective and they're not, potentially going to kill a small child or animal. Because poison is it's risky.
Have you guys seen those videos of those rat terriers, the ratters? Ooh. And they take them out. I've seen they're on YouTube. And he has 4, 5, 6 of them, and he takes them to a cattle place where they have these huge hay bales, big hay bales, and they lift them with a forklift, and the rats go running, and the dogs go after them like nobody's business. It's amazing. Isn't a stoat a pig? Okay, I'm looking at your comments. Yes, Sweet Tree Bonsai, we knew that. That's very sad. Muscovy ducks are great mousers? Really? That's interesting. Ratters will kill chickens, though. They do it once. Yeah, see, weasels and minks, we raise chickens and chicks and things. No. Oh, okay. Ferret, ermine. Yeah, we don't really have that big of a problem with mice stuff. I've seen when we lived in Kansas, combines going through the fields, doing the corn mostly, and I don't know, maybe 50 yards behind the combine in the middle of the day, you'd see coyotes following the combine, because as the combine was dealing with the corn, the mice were running and the coyotes were just feasting on them right out there in the middle of the day.
Birds do that too.
The Max,
sometimes.
we're in the Ozarks. The law offices of weasel, ermine, ferret, and stoat.
Yeah, but the weasels and stuff, if they can't find enough pests, they're going to come after your birds and
Right,
stuff.
that's what I said.
You've got to have your coops and things very secure.
Yeah. Well,
is
how
that
long
enough?
have we been on?
An hour and 5 minutes.
That's an hour.
It's an hour. Is that good? Anybody got any other questions?
Mark retracted his. Here we have red fox to do that in our fields. Huh.
And vultures? My miniature weenie dog to kill mice when I raised gerbils and rats. And had her kill them.
Snakes.
Yeah, snakes.
We try
will
not
do
to
it
kill
too.
the non-poisonous snakes. We don't mess with them.
Will you ever host any more winter bug outs?
For the general public, honestly, probably not. I did it 13 years in a row, and I've kind of moved on. We do things with the shofarians, but that allows us to get more intimate, if you will.
It's also a whole lot of work for
But
a bug out.
here's
camp
the
out.
deal, and if
Yep.
he's still here, what's he call himself? Southern what?
Southern Spirit?
Southern Spirit. It was actually his idea to do it, to give him all the credit. And we called it the National Winter Bug Out Bag Exercise. And all it takes is you to say, hey, get with a couple people, grab your bug out bags, and go somewhere for 4 days in the middle of winter.
Or you host.
Right, that's what I mean. You just go do it. It's not that hard.
Right, it doesn't have to be passed through our judgment. I hope to see you all at Brother Alex's. That would be nice.
Yeah. All right, well.
We call that camping. It's funny. You done?
Yeah, I think we're good.
All right. Bless you all. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for coming on.
We
It's nice seeing
appreciate
you all.
it.
And we'll be back probably next week or something.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Bless you. And thanks for all your comments and your support. We appreciate it.
All right.
All right. Shalom.
See you out there.